Now, there's a few things that we're going to talk about. First, let's talk about the moon's placement, okay? We're going to start the week essentially with the moon in Gemini because it moves from Taurus into Gemini at 6:29 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, so early in the morning on Monday, the moon enters Gemini. So indicated, oh, good, Annalise, that's fantastic. Wonderful. So with regards to the moon, so the moon in Gemini as we start the week, and then it's going to move into Cancer on Wednesday afternoon, Eastern time. And then it will move into Leo. So we'll complete the week with the moon in Leo. So Gemini, Cancer, and Leo. So what will matter to us kind of intrinsically, collectively, on some emotional level. So foundationally, what will have meaning for us will be communications. It will be data, collecting data. It will be how we feel about our communications, whether it's with a person or with a boss or with a client or with friends or with family. So our communications, the way we communicate will matter. The way others communicate will matter. And then we're going to move into moon in Cancer, where it's most comfortable, obviously, because the moon rules Cancer. And so issues of kind of home and comfort, privacy, nurturance, feeling safe, secure, held in sanctuary might very well be coming up, especially because, I mean, the interesting thing, can I just say, the interesting thing is the moon moves into Cancer on Wednesday, and Wednesday is when we have kind of the Senate determining the acquittal of our POTUS. And the US has a lot of planetary focus in Cancer. So it's interesting, okay? And then for the rest of us, a lot of us might feel a little more sensitive. Moon in Cancer naturally feels sensitivity toward things, and it could be that there's a need for more privacy, and it could be midweek, maybe there's going to be some activity and there's going to be more of a need for privacy. And then on Friday afternoon, this is late afternoon, this is the evening East Coast time, the moon moves into Leo. So we'll have the moon in Leo there for the weekend essentially. And what's going to matter at that point is more fun and joy, a little bit more play and humor, a little bit more confidence might reemerge after a period of maybe more solitude and quiet, okay? And again, this is so general because we each have different associations in our natal chart about how Gemini lands archetypally in the structure of our blueprint, where Cancer lands architecturally and logistically in the architecture of our blueprint, etc. Okay, now another big thing is that tomorrow, Monday, so this potion is for the week of the 3rd, Mercury enters Pisces. So Mercury has been in Aquarius. In fact, what is it at now? Yeah, like today, Mercury is going to move into the 29th degree of Aquarius. Critical degree, Mercury, critical degree Aquarius, ruled by Uranus. This is like, I don't know, a push or an urgency. So for those that are sane, for people that are sane, for people that are grounded, this Mercury can bring deep insights and a lot of downloads. And then there'll be some sort of, let's say, desire to communicate that. For others with this 29-degree Mercury ruled by Uranus, this is about flipping out. This is about breaking. This is about Uranian mind, which can be cruel and it can be abrupt and it can be non-predictable, okay? So different people are going to react differently to that. But we have that going on today as we enter the week. And then again, when Mercury is entering Pisces at 6:37 a.m. Eastern time. So this is an early entry, right? So when Mercury moves into Pisces ruled by Neptune, a couple of things are going to be happening for us over the next, let's see how long it's going to be there. Let me look. Mercury will be in Pisces. Oh, see, it's going to go retrograde. And we'll talk about that in the next week or two. But it's going to go retrograde on the 17th. So it's going to be in Pisces. This is how long Mercury is going to be in Pisces. Mercury will be in Pisces from the 3rd of February to the 28th of April. No, to the 11th. To the 11th of April. So 2 months and a week. Okay? This is a lot of Mercury Pisces energy, everybody. This is a lot of Mercury Pisces. So this is Neptune ruled mind. This is creativity. It's certainly a spiritual mind. For some people, there's going to be extremity of religious dogma and other kind of assessments of truth, deluded self-delusion, deluded mind is going to be activated for some. For others, this is amazing creative flow that's going to start emerging. It can also create, if people are not in a place of quiet, if they're not if they don't make a decision to step back from distraction and noise and information in the field, in the collective field, this can look like confusion and distraction. Okay? So there's all kinds of things that are going to be activated in the next 2 months and a week. But that starts this week, okay? Now, what else do we have? We also have Venus moving into Aries on Friday. And that's going to happen. It's going to happen at 3:02 Eastern time on Friday, the 7th. Okay? Friday the 7th, Venus will move. And I'm pretty confident that Friday is a Venus day. Oops. I'm pretty confident. Let's see. Yep, Friday is connected to the planet Venus. So indeed, Venus moves into Aries on its day. So let's look at the symbology of what this means. First of all, it's happening on Friday, which is its day. But what is Friday? Well, Friday's the end of a work week, and it's the beginning, essentially, of a weekend. So there's almost something about a new beginning, Venus moving into Aries, right? Which is a new cycle of growth. So Venus moving into a whole new cycle of growth on its day. Venus is the planet of woman, the feminine, beauty, love, abundance, nurturance, creativity. All of these aspects are moving into a new aligned Venus in its own day beginning, Aries. Chills with that. Your Venus is in Aries. Beautiful, sweetie. It means that you're going to have a Venus return, essentially, which you have all the time because Venus goes quickly around the ecliptic, but that's terrific. And it does mean that there's going to be, for you or for anybody else with Venus in Aries, that there would be an easy alignment of energies. The other thing with Venus in Aries is this. Venus represents values, how we love and value the self, what we love and value according to how we love and value the self. So it's all about values. It's also about ethic, our ethos. So the thing with Venus in Aries is that we're going to be valuing new beginnings, initiation, innovation, action, physical movement. All of these kind of things are going to be initiated. New beginnings, new births, all kinds of things. I mean, it's significant. Now let's see how long Venus is going to be there. So Venus will be in Aries until the 5th of March. So we have a month, essentially, right? Which is terrific. And that means essentially the totality as of the 7th, 7 Friday, Venus, because I think 7 is also associated with Venus, is it not? Let me see. Oops. Give me a second. No, it's the number 6. 6 is associated with Venus, which kind of makes sense because it's about harmony above and below coming together. And together it's the Merkaba, 3 above, 3 below, connected in balanced unity. So that makes sense with Venus. It's also home and family. Number 6 is representative of home and family, which would make sense too with Venus being feminine. So, okay, great. Now let's talk about the astrology. So we talked about the moon, we talked about Mercury changing and Venus changing. What I want to point out is this, and this is what I was laughing about, is currently, as I'm speaking to you, the moon is in the 3rd decan of Taurus, meaning it's at around 20 degrees Taurus. And it's quincunxing Mercury over there in Sagittarius at 20 degrees Sag. And the interesting thing is Mars in Sag can be this aggressive assertion of belief. And the difficult relationship to the moon in Taurus can also be quite stubborn. The moon in Taurus, it knows what it knows. It's grounded in its meaning, whatever has meaning for Taurus. And so the interesting thing is there's kind of stubbornness with dogmatism that's kind of having some difficult relationship. Now, that's just today. The moon is going to move very quickly off of that point. But today, who knows? There could be either conflict or, I don't know, coming upon situations where there's people asserting their beliefs and their truth in a very aggressive way. Just look at it as a reflection. If it's a trigger point, then just look at it as a reflection. How am I dogmatic? How am I holding to my position without being open to any other layers of truth, right? So that's interesting. The other stuff we've really talked about, Mercury, I talked about Mercury moving into that 29th degree in Aquarius. I mean, the other thing that I'll just say is we still have, Venus is moving on from it, but we still have Venus conjuncting, right now it's 6 degrees, but we have it conjuncting Neptune. So we still have that kind of narrative of diluted senses of self-value and diluted senses of ethic. And a delusion with regards to the feminine, a delusion with regards to women. Now, we've seen that on the news. So for any of you kind of following what's been happening with the impeachment trial and with journalists, that's part and parcel. That square of that diluted delusion with regards to the feminine squaring that Mars in Sagittarius, that assertion, aggressive assertion. What you ask me is not correct. It's very kind of misogynistic and dismissive. That's been going on. Well, that's just one example, right? But that square is still happening. Happily, Venus is moving on. So that delusion is moving on. It's not going to be like we're going to lose delusion about the feminine and what it means, but it does mean that kind of a certain intensity that we've had around it is waning. The other thing that I wanted to bring up with this assessment is this, that we have officially moved out of Neptune in that karmic 16 degree point. We've moved out of that. Neptune is now at 17. And it's going to be there. I looked it up, but let me look it up again. So Neptune has moved out of that karmic point. Now it's at 17. And it's going to be there at 17 degrees until the 27th of February. So the end of this month, okay? And it moved in to that 17-degree point on the 30th of January. So essentially the entire month of February, it's Neptune 17 degrees, okay? So 17, 1 is the self, the individual, the passion, the driver. 7 is spirituality. Together it's 8, which is empowerment. Now, indeed, that particular energetic could bring about people kind of asserting that they're God's answer to all the ills. Could be that. But that's not really actually the predominance of what I get from the 17. I think for a lot of people, certainly a lot of my clients and the people in my sphere and the people that I know, I think the 17 is going to help people embody a certain assimilated knowing, a grounded knowing with regards to their spirituality, with regards to them physically representing a conscious story that's immaterial. There's something there about a new wisdom and a new empowerment. So that's happening, and that's quite exciting. Now, will Neptune move back into the karmic position? Let's see. Let's see. It is going to go retrograde. So Neptune will go retrograde in June at 20 degrees, right around the summer solstice. Very interesting. In fact, it's going to be happening at 20 degrees, which is where we've been having our full moons. You're going to notice that this month has a full moon at 20, just like we did last month, if I'm not mistaken. So with regards to Neptune, what is it going to go back into? It's out of 16. It's gonna end up going direct at 18 degrees. That's gonna be in November. So between 20 degrees and 18 degrees will be that retrograde. It's out of 16, which is good. For me too, I'm very happy for Neptune to get the hell out of that midsection of Pisces for my own reasons. The other thing that Neptune is doing at this 17 is that if you have any planets on 17 degrees, or if you had any planets at 16, or wherever Neptune is sitting, or if you have planets around that space, what that means is that there's a natural dissolution happening. And that can mean for people that are conscious and participating in their own awareness, very self-aware people that are doing work, what that means is that there can be a dissolution of toxic deception with regards to those planetary functions within your blueprint. Okay, so for me, it's landing on something for me. It has been. Neptune's been on stuff for me for a while. For all of you with anything within the mid ranges of, I would say within 5 degrees, but more so within like 3 degrees. If you have anything within 3 degrees of 16, 17 degrees in Pisces, then there's dissolution processes naturally activated for you with regards to toxicity of deception with regards to that function. I think that's all I want to talk about, actually. Let's go ahead and do my Siri deck reading. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Let's take a look here. Oh, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to look at the Sabian symbol, but I didn't pull up what I wanted to look it up for, actually. There's no specific place. My South Node. Well, that's excellent that your South Node would be there, because that means that certain patterning that is ingrained, there's a dissolution process happening for you, okay? Especially when it's exact. So if you have an exact hit, that's a very clear dissolution process happening. And when it's around there, it means it's working. If it's approaching or if it's separating, you know, if it's an approaching aspect or a separating aspect. So let me see here. What did I want to look at the Sabian? I pulled up the Sabian just in case I wanted to see anything. Let's look up something quickly. I'm going to look up Mercury at 29 degrees Aquarius, because that's what we have kind of today. For a lot of you, you're going to be watching this today, Sunday. What is the mind? What's the narrative living at that 29 degree Aquarius point? Oops. Deeply rooted in the past of a very ancient culture, a spiritual brotherhood in which many individual minds are merged into the growing light of a unanimous consciousness, is revealed to one who has emerged successfully from his or her metamorphosis. So there's something here today as we enter into this week of clarity, up-leveling, higher frequency, meeting the call, a matured mind, an articulated voice, something. Okay? So very good that. Again, that preps us for our week, everybody, which I really love.